So when we say longitudinal and when we say cross-section, does that mean anything to anyone right now?
I
No.
get the cross section, but not the longitudinal.
Okay, so what that means is, okay, if I pretend, the line of this scale is the section cut or the slice, and we'll go over this again on Thursday, but let's say that section cut is going this way through my composition. So what am I hitting? I always use that terminology. What am I hitting? I'm cutting through this plane here, right? This is a cross section, so generally the shorter drawing, the less long, right, is gonna be the cross section. So my section plane, and we'll determine where that is, we don't know where that is yet, but it's gonna be running north-south, east-west, okay? So we have two different sections, and they relate to two different kind of vertical cuts, okay? All right, wonderful. So, let me get this aligned here.
Can you not bend on the table, because I can see it.
You can just stand here, like there's an empty space right there.
If I get over there, I can see.
Is anyone recording right now too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are the tall ones in the front? Why are you in the front?
Y'all can get in front of
You know what I need? Has anyone ever been, it's funny, cause my studio, I assigned a demonstration kitchen. Has anyone been to like a demonstration kitchen thing?
No.
Sometimes
Oh,
they have
yeah.
cameras of the person's hands,
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
and then, yeah, there's like a screen above or something. I need
My teacher in high school had that.
one of, oh, really?
Yeah.
Good for them. I'm having trouble here.
You need a GoPro.
Yeah, a GoPro.
Is it a white projector?
I would feel very goofy wearing a GoPro. Man, I don't know. I don't think I could focus. It feels like such a goof. Alright, wonderful. So, we've got that set up, and then you're gonna do your borders. So can I have someone read the next paragraph? How has drawing been for Balderas? Have you guys been talking a lot about visual line weight and everything like that?
Yeah. We haven't drawn in a while now that I think about it.
Cause you've been doing your release. So what, excuse me, yeah, sorry. What are you working on in the studio right now? Color.
Mondrian. Yeah, we're doing like a Mondrian with like the primary and then like secondary and tertiary colors.
Okay, wonderful. Very good.
We're also doing like a cubic thing,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not due till tomorrow, I feel it.
So we're working with a lot of color.
Sorry.
And he lets you guys use like the,
It's good, because I can see from right here.
You're good.
So all
No,
mine
you're good.
is
Everyone's
just
good.
gonna be half an inch all the way through.
Yeah.
That's just
Seal
like-
half in border.
Like that's a Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, like, they don't care about it.
She's doing half inch border for all these
So I don't care about that.
Against major corporations.
alright, so the next step just said that they have the half-inch border, correct?
Yes.
Alright, should be paying attention. So then can I have someone read the next section if it's still, computer's still away? Title blocks, the longitudinal section will not count. That's where we're at, right? Under the
Yeah.
title block?
A.
Okay, wonderful. So, can I have someone read A for us?
Longitudinal
I'm
section.
not reading that.
Did I say it right? I can pronounce it.
That's great.
The longitudinal section will not have a title block. The bottom border will provide ground plane for the longitudinal section.
Wonderful. So if you want to draw parallels with these two compositions, right? This one kind of pairs with the south elevation, right? And this one pairs probably with the west elevation. And you'll remember with our south elevation, we were just looking at line weights and crochet, and there was no border, right? And the overall height of your kind of composition, if it has that, it does have a height, is 11 inches right now, right, in real scale. So we don't have room for a title block if we're to do like an accurate section for this one. So there will be no title block on this sheet. Does everyone remember what this one's called? Longitudinal section. So on the cross section, We do, and it matches that of the west elevation. So can I have someone read the cross-section part?
From the left borderline, students should measure 1 inch right and draw an additional vertical line from the top of the border to the bottom. From the left of the title block, students will measure 1/8 over and draw a vertical line. From this vertical line, students will measure an additional 1/2 inch and draw another vertical line from the top border to the bottom border.
Wonderful. So if you all recall, you're not gonna have to, if you wanna jump ahead, you're welcome to do the graphic scale, but I'm just kind of laying the bones of the graphic scale now. Again, we have a 1-inch title block, right? And then I'm gonna go, I'm not changing my lead out, but I'm gonna go really light. And I have an 1/8 inch border. And then I have that 1/2 inch zone for my graphic scale. Does everyone remember that? So very much like this one, I've got an 1/8 of an inch gap and my graphic scale is gonna live there. That's as much as you need to lay out at the beginning. But I will say, the one thing that's different is we were working in 8 scale. We were understanding our composition in 8 scale. We're actually gonna bump it up to quarter scale. And what that does, it gives you all, when we get into the stair, it gives you a more sizable area for the stair. Okay? Alright, wonderful. So can someone scroll down? Our self elevation to plan. Remember how we drew guidelines as kind of our first step? And what lead did we use for those guidelines? 4H, wonderful. They were just guidelines, right? We're gonna do the same, but it's gonna be for the section. So yes, let's go ahead and read longitudinal section. Can someone D, big D, little c. Set of vertical guidelines, and as it says, I'm gonna pull from every face of column and plane. And in this composition, I don't have any outliers. So really, that just translates to the vertical elements, okay? So I'm gonna take up my guidelines. Again, this is all, I'm using not the right lead, I'm not switching out leads just to save time, but this would all be in 4H, that I've got these guidelines. Oops.
An outlier would be like if this is like.
Correct, yeah, so if one of my, that's a good question, if one of my planes stopped here, I'd have to draw that line up as well. But for this composition, and actually this is
Thank you.
This is not my composition, this is a student that dropped last semester.
Aww.
Yeah,
This is really good.
yeah,
This here looks pretty good.
yeah, he was good. He had attendance issues, so, but I was only the one, so I got everybody else there, so I was very happy about that. And his dad was a landscape architect, so.
Aw.
Yeah, I know, I was like, you should have taken over the biz, but anyway, so then I have my set of vertical guidelines, and let me go over here, sorry guys, and get, if you have an outlier, so this composition really goes out to here. And so I would bring up that as well. Any questions so far?
No.
It's all kind of making sense. We're getting kind of at least the muscle memory of doing this kind of stuff. All right, so let's see.
What on earth did we just bring up?
The outlier. So
Can you
this
have
was
one that
this
you
was
did?
not my composition,
Oh.
and I realized that this student had drawn and planned this particular plane wrong.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but that's all right. So then, what you're gonna do is temporarily, because you're gonna have to, this is gonna be switched out with your south elevation and then your west elevation. But I'm getting the guidelines over here now. You're gonna line up this composition, and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to be lined up with this one. Here, and I'm going to take, sorry, I'm making a mess of this. I'm always so bad with these axis. This is related to my heights. You can see it's basically going to be the top, which I already have a line of, the bottom of the composition, the horizontal elements, but you can see there's also an outlier here in this portion, so in the y-axis. So I'm gonna bring across the horizontal guidelines. Sorry. It's not an academic word, but Oh, really? Aw. Okay, so then those are your guidelines, right? And right now, all the lines on there are 4H. Okay, very good. So then, can I have someone read? Okay. Alright, so that's that 2 inches. And does anyone remember what that was in this
ground.
drawing? The ground plane, perfect, very nice. So we've got the ground plane, and now this drawing is not even oriented, right? I've got to switch out this drawing with my west elevation. So in this case, my vertical guidelines, because my composition is landscape, actually comes from my plan. Okay, so I'm gonna go across and I'm gonna take these and, I don't think I say it in the description, but you can bet that this composition is 11 inches high, right? So I would measure an 11-inch from the 2-inch ground plane, and I really don't like this parallel bar. It's got a huge gap. Remember, in this composition above it was just the dimensions, right? But we're not going to dimension this time. So again, my vertical guidelines are just bringing up basically the edges or the sides of the columns, right? And those guidelines here from that 2-inch border to the top at 11 inches above, or that 2-inch ground plane.
Oh, yeah.
With the ground plane at 2 inches.
Will the ground plane be the darkest line still or no?
It is, yes, but it merges with other elements that have been cut through for the section line. So you may not remember this, but when I was talking through elevation, I said that elevations actually do have a vertical cut, just like a roof plan has a horizontal cut, but it's above the element. So in an elevation, the vertical cut is in front of. So it's actually just cutting through the ground plane, it's not cutting through the element. So that's why the ground plane's heavy. But once we move that vertical plane into, let's say, our composition or the actual themes, the section cut line is actually gonna follow the ground plane. It's gonna pick up where that, let's say, that wall is or that plane is. So
Okay.
we'll get there. But so now you can see I've got again, this is portrait orientation. I've got these guidelines. So now I've got to switch out this drawing, and I'm gonna double check. I don't remember if this one is.
It's kind of similar to the layout of that one, right?
Yes, it's very similar. So you'll see it's exactly the same composition.
Mhm.
It's just gonna be, again, that vertical cut. The section cut line is in a different location in this, but it's got the ground plane 11 inches high. You've got the guidelines here.
Yeah. Let's
And
see.
I can already see that this is a different composition. So what you all are gonna do is you're gonna have your west elevation, right? And you're gonna align it here, right? And the heights that you have from where those planes start and stop, you're gonna bring down, okay? The one caveat is I don't have this former student's drawing of this. I did this based off of a composition. I think I might have used Lindsay's, right? But what I do have is I have this, which does indicate the heights for me. So I'm gonna pull the heights off of this, but just know that this is how you're gonna lay everything out. So the 2-inch ground plane's gonna align and this here, and you're gonna look for the tops and the bottoms of all these planes, which technically should align with your horizontal elements, and then again, he has the outlier, okay? So that's how you would lay it out. I've gotta do a little bit of, improvisation with this one here though. So I'm gonna line up my ground plane, which is this, right? Any questions so far?
You're just finding the height of the plane?
Yeah, I'm just, you know, we can use the word coordinating, I'm coordinating across the drawing, so that, you know, this plane I'm gonna draw the side view of, essentially, right? In the west elevation is drawing the side view of it, but I know its height is gonna be consistent across, so I'm gonna take that height across, same with the bottom of this plane and the top of this plane.
So you're just getting the height information
From this instead, yeah, because I don't have this, but you all will get your height information from here. It makes, it's easier to translate or, I think, understand. So, I'm gonna bring down that line. And that line. And I actually don't need that line, because it's not the top or bottom of any of the planes, right? So I've got all 3 of those. And, you know, if you wanted, you could just, put your west elevation directly under and basically trace an outline of it as well. I've had some students find that to be helpful. I would stick with this method because it's more true to how you will kind of reproduce, sections and elevations. But that's, you know, really the first step. So I think, you know, most of us hopefully can get to at least this point today. And so we have the base of our trace iterations, okay?
Which lines did you bring down?
So I brought down, right, so if I'm to draw that, I would draw a rectangle like that. And it'd probably be heavy
Yeah.
because it's closest to me, if I'm thinking about it as the west elevation. Okay, and then, I brought, you know, the bottom of that, and that, we have the top of the composition at 11 inches there. So this plane, if I were to draw that, I would draw the rectangle around that zone.
So what did you draw this
I
one?
was gonna ask that too. Why did you draw this one?
Because
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Okay, yeah, I saw that for,
No, we don't need that one.
Yeah.
We don't
Okay.
need it. It was just, you know.
Yeah, the
Force
flow.
of habit,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because at first I was like, oh, we're drawing the line, and then I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
'cause
just
I noticed
You just
that you-
need the heights.
Yeah.
Good catch, everyone. Very good. Okay.
Are these the locations then?
Yeah, these are the locations, because this is, remember, your plan, so this is kind of your map of where everything is. And so, we're starting out, like, kind of comparing this, let's say, side view, south elevation to this longitudinal section, and then your west elevation is pretty much matching this.
yeah. But we don't have
with,
that.
with the idea that we're adding the information of this vertical slice, which is section, okay? Any questions? Yes,
So if we were to, well, this is one, but say that this was, it would be this line be going across, and it would be this one,
correct,
this one, and then.
yeah,
it's
for
already
yours,
drawn.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you would just indicate the tops and bottoms of all your planes,
Okay.
Yeah.
and even the dashed ones.
Okay, so you
So
still,
bring
you
up-
just have that be a solid line, not a dash line.
Yeah, because these are all this is all 4-H,
Okay.
and this is all 4-H so far, everything, okay?
The dash gets solid lines too.
Yeah, they get guidelines too. Yeah, everything gets guidelines because the dash indicates the top and bottom of the plane, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's behind something.
Mhm.
All right. Any other questions? These are good ones to know.
Are we drawing, are we drawing the planes like, kinda like this, but just at the side view?
So yeah, we're drawing them in a side view, but we're introducing the vertical slice.
Okay.
So you'll have to stay tuned for
Sure.
that for
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Very good. So